Hello, everybody. Elizabeth Johnston here, story coach and founder of Own Your Creativity. And today I'm celebrating Earth Day, April 22nd. And I was thinking about, how appreciative I am of how the earth supports us. And I invite you to think about that too. I mean, even during these crazy times of the pandemic, the earth is still supporting us with food and water and air. And did you hear about the dolphins in the Venetian canals? Now that the traffic in the canals is reduced and the pollution is thinning out, that those animals are kind of taking their place again. And I'm sure it's just such a wonder to look out your window if you live along the canal and see the animals and the water animals frolicking around as well. And in fact, yesterday a great swoop of swallows were outside my window, winged messengers of perseverance and hope and connection too, because they fly down to Central America and South America for the winter, chasing those insects, chasing their food, and then when they come back, they kind of bring back some whispers of their experience. And if we're still enough and open enough to receive those messages, we can hear them. And that's what writers do. They observe and reflect deeply with the head and the heart and the imagination. Imagination that soars and swoops like a swallow. I'm running a life writing class right now. And in it, we're exploring the 8 dimensions of wellness or well-being. And one of those dimensions is environmental well-being. And so I'm just going to read you the little description here of that section of our course. So environmental well-being is an awareness of place in the macro and macro levels. So on the one hand, it's being aware of the equilibrium or lack of it in our personal space, as well as our place in the larger world. It includes an appreciation of cleaner air, oceans, conservation efforts, but also the micro spaces we inhabit, our bedrooms, homes, offices, cars, and so on. And our intimate spaces that we are inhabiting now, we're really getting to know them really well during this pandemic, probably much more intimately than we've ever done before. So these spaces are our personal environments. Environmental wellness asks us to also see the bigger picture, though. It asks us to find ways to maximize harmony at home as well as outside of the home. It includes being involved in socially responsible activities to protect the environment. And of course, though, this all starts with learning about our personal spaces and organizing them and creating a space for us in which to not just survive, but thrive and flourish. So that's a little bit about what we're exploring in the writing class that I'm giving right now. And it made me think about it when I was putting together that module for our course. It made me think of the 2 models of a worldview in terms of environment. And this is a picture of one model of the worldview that most of us, I think, share. And on the bottom here, there are mushrooms and ants and trees and flowers and viruses, bacteria, amoeba, down at the very bottom. And then all the way at the top is the human. And so this hierarchical structure reflects our belief that we're at the top of the pile and that we have stewardship or dominion over nature, and that somehow we're in charge because we can walk and talk and think. And so that system is a hierarchical one, and then here is the holistic system. So this is an awareness of how everything is interconnected and that one thing doesn't necessarily have more importance than another. And we do have humans here we have a human here, and we have a human here, and we don't actually have anything right in the center. So it's interesting that the way that they put together this graphic, because you know, if they put a mushroom in the center, then that could maybe be seen as like, oh, that's like, you know, the most important part. But no, there's nothing right in the center. And so I think it's really interesting to contemplate those two systems of environmental worldview. And I really think it's interesting to, from a writer's perspective as well, because you can imagine what life might be like in a holistic system. Because we don't really live in a holistic system. Maybe pockets of, you know, the world do, but I bet most of us in urban areas don't have that. And even in the workplace, we have this hierarchy in the workplace. And so pretty much everywhere we turn, that there's somehow this hierarchical worldview that informs our understanding of ourselves and our communities. But, you know, just stop there for a moment and imagine what it might be like if you lived in a holistically organized world. And the other thing that I wanted to invite you to do is to think about what activities, or share with us what activities that you already engage in to protect the environment, if any. And if you don't, what would you like to get involved in? You know, thinking here, celebrating Earth today on Earth Day, if you were to get involved with something, what would it be? Something that is near and dear to my heart is eating organic. And that practice started a long time ago, but it's traced back to the time that I wrote a book, No Small Potatoes. And in it, I talk about GMOs and why they're bad for us and our environment and our communities. And this book was an expression of my sense of social responsibility. You know, when I was finding out information about this topic, I just felt so passionate about it that I had to share it with as many people as I could. And so I had to get the word out. And I did it in the form of a book. So if you were to write about an environmental issue, what would it be? Maybe you already have, and if so, post it below. Tell us what you're passionate about and what it is about. And if you haven't written about it, or you haven't thought about it, if you were to write about an environmental issue, what might it be? So you can leave a comment below this video and let us know. And I look forward to your comments. Happy Earth Day!